Coming up, a family affair. Wow, what an emotional night. Coming up on this Night of Champions post show.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. The show, of course, is brought to you by the Wrestling Realm. Before we get started, let me let you know where you can find the show. Just simply right there, if you look on the bottom of your ticker, you can like us on Facebook. Just search the Wrestling Realm. Also subscribe on our YouTube channel right here. Click the subscribe button down below. Also Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora Podcasts. We are there, folks. What a night. WWE Night of Champions. It ended in a way. So let's just admit it, right? Going in, everybody knew. There's no way Jey Uso was going to win a championship. Excuse me. And there's that one sneeze I have every show. Everybody knew Jey Uso was not winning the championship. But we was interested in to see the story that was being told. We wanted to see, okay, what's going to happen? How is this going to happen? So you go back to the way this match came about, right? Paul Heyman did a favor. Big E gets hurt. So he says, hey, put Jey Uso in the Fatal 4-Way match. He gets an opportunity. That's in front of curtain. So let's look at it from some superior wrestling intellect. WWE had to keep Jey Uso relevant. He's still there. Jimmy Uso's hurt. So he could have been just another guy in catering doing some matches. Just regular matches. Or we want to get Roman over as a heel. How do you get Roman over as a heel? You put a personal storyline. Everybody loves Jey Uso. Everybody knows they're cousins. Been there, blood, the bloodline. So it's one thing people hate is when that one person gets so big-headed in any family, when that one person feels like they're too good for the family. They feel like they're not as cool no more. And that's what Roman was doing. He was going back. Jey Uso sitting up there, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You said that, and Roman just kind of looking like, okay. And we saw this build over the weeks. I like the fact that they didn't have any physical contact until last Friday when Roman blindsided him. But I like the fact when he even said the look. He said, come on, Oos, the look? How was I supposed to know? You go back to when they first came in, the Shield that is, and Roman Reigns was there. They kind of mentioned it, but they tried to stay away from it. I know even former WWE writer Kevin X said that he wanted to pitch a storyline where Roman was kind of like the black sheep of the family. I believe it's something like, Roman was like the black sheep or got away, and they didn't want to do it. He said, Roman has showed me pictures of them together as kids. Well, we see that playing now. And if you watch Jey Uso's WWE Chronicle, it was a phenomenal job by the WWE and a great time for them to do this. Because what they did was they sat there, brought this story on around the time when WWE, they brought this on during that storyline. So you watching it, and it's his whole story leading up to this match. You're finding out that he's which one are you, which twin. So it's kind of like no matter how hard he worked, no matter what, he was always in the shadow. Roman is a few months older than the Usos. So you have Jimmy, who's always kind of relevant because the reason why he stands out is because he's married to Naomi. So people know him because okay, well, he's married to another WWE superstar. So when they're on Total Divas, it makes sense for him to be on there. So people know Jimmy Uso. But he was kind of like that forgotten one, and like he said, he's always been, which one are you? Which twin are you? And, unfortunately, Jimmy was the one that did get in a lot of trouble. So you also looking at it like, all right, well, here, but then you're looking at it like, well, he's getting an opportunity. Then you have Roman Reigns, who is clearly, blue chipper. He's everything that, the prototypical Vince McMahon superstar. He's got Hollywood written all over him. The second coming of The Rock, dare say. But the thing I liked about this was the head of the table, the tribal chief. And throughout the match, he kept saying, I'm the tribal chief. And even when it seemed like it was going to be Roman dominating, Jimmy started getting some momentum. And when he started getting that momentum, and when he started and, looking like he was going to beat him, Roman hit him with a low blow. And when he hit that low blow, man, it was like really, and I even said it was a shot that the way he was selling it, that it was so hard that for the women out there, you get hit below the belt so hard that it goes up to your stomach. And it was like one of those shots. And that would be the turning point of the match. And you saw the constant taunting of Roman. And if you go back to WWE Chronicles, you will see Jimmy Uso talking to Jey talking to Jimmy on the phone, and Jimmy telling him, look, it's all you. This is you. This is your opportunity. Who would have thought years ago when they were in their teenage years that they would have been main eventing pay-per-view? The Usos, let's just say they all wanted to wrestle. It was kind of probably understood the Usos were going to be a tag team. I mean, after all, the family legacy. You look at the Wild Samoans. You look at the Head Shrinkers. Their dad was a member of the Head Shrinkers. Even though he had a singles career, you got these two twins. You look, okay, they're going to be tag team. Roman, even though, I think the goal was football. Like, all right, he'll probably be a single star. So who would have ever thought we would have got this match? And it's almost like a blessing in disguise. You have the virus. You got Roman trying to get over. It wouldn't have made sense. Everybody didn't want Big E in the match. The fans didn't want Big E. But then, I guess WWE said, hey, Big E, we deserve a break. We're going to bring you back. And when you come back, you're going to be primed to go after that singles run. But you wanted to get Roman established as a heel. What better way to do it than doing this right here? And as it got towards the end, I know it was like emotional watching. As you saw Jimmy Uso come out there begging Roman to stop. And he wouldn't give up. And that's the thing. Big brother comes to save little brother for himself. And one of the key things, if you watch the documentary, he said, we're 9 minutes apart, but we might as well be 9 years apart because of the way Jimmy Uso treats him, or, John and Jey. So as he kept going back and forth, I'm like, oh man, this is great. And Roman wasn't letting up. And, one point he even acknowledged, he said, hey, I love you. And he would never say, he was saying, hey, I love him. And the story is, if he's willing in this state of mind to do this to somebody he's loved. Even Paul Heyman was like, come on, man, you're my tribal chief. He said, no, I want him to say it. Then he looked at the referee and said, you know what? You stay out of this. This is a family affair. I've been whipping his tail for all these years. And you look at everything, the way this played out, man, I'm going to watch this match again. This was one of those matches. It was kind of like a Brock Lesnar-esque match when Lesnar was going against AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and Finn Balor, where you knew they wasn't going to win. But then they put on, performances that made you think maybe they could slay the beast. Just maybe. But in the end, Lesnar will win. That's what this looked like up until, obviously, those last few minutes. But phenomenal match, phenomenal story. I cannot wait until Friday night to see what happens between these two, and to see what's next for Roman. Obviously, we have Hell in the Cell. I really don't want to see a rematch. I don't need to see these two in the cell. Yeah, we've seen what the Usos have done in the cell with the New Day, but I just don't think we need to see this. I think, either put Roman in there with somebody else. Quite frankly, Roman really doesn't need a Hell in the Cell match. And I think you say the Hell in the Cell maybe for, obviously probably have 2 or 3 matches, definitely Drew, but we don't need a Hell in the Cell match. If this wasn't your match of the night, though, I would have to say it was the tag team the Intercontinental Championship match. I guess we could say Undisputed Intercontinental Championship match. A triple threat match, Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles. 3 guys who are just walking 5-star matches. On their worst day, they can put on a 5-star match. And we saw I'm so excited. We saw Sami Zayn getting it done, handcuffing, or I should say ear cuffing, Jeff Hardy to the ladder. And it's like another time where they've been using those big earlobes that Jeff Hardy has. We saw Randy Orton doing some sadistic things, and we saw the cuffs through it, and then we saw him handcuff AJ Styles to the ladder as he was trying to climb up. He cuffed him, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So he cuffed Jeff Hardy's ears to the ladder, and then AJ Styles' wrist to the ladder, and then put the key in his mouth. Climb the ladder to retrieve both belts. Sami Zayn is your undisputed Intercontinental Champion. I think this is great. I think it was probably meant for him to have a good run. So now he's probably getting to have that run he was supposed to have. So I want to see what happens next. Does he get back in the fold with Cesaro and Shinsuke? That's another thing. They're, the champions. So does he get in the fold with them? What else we had? Man, it was such an incredible night. But matter of fact, the WWE Universal Championship. Let's go there. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, another one. And I love these shorter pay-per-views. The pandemic obviously is the reason, but one, I'm recording this at 10:21 instead of 11 or 12:21. But 2, you can have your championship matches back to back. So you had this match to come on right before the WWE Universal Championship match. And it was great storytelling here. As you saw, everybody whom Randy Orton had beat up in his route to Drew McIntyre, it came back and haunt him. We saw a Big Show. We saw Christian. We saw Shawn Michaels. And in the end, it was Ric Flair driving the ambulance. It was a part of the time where I thought Randy Orton may win this match. But then as I saw Shawn Michaels come out there, I said, yeah, he's probably going to lose. I wouldn't have been mad if Orton had became champion. It would have been, probably would have been cool to see. But in the end, it does make sense for Drew McIntyre to remain champion, who's been doing a phenomenal job, by the way. It's usually, so you look at the history of wrestling. Generally, somebody wins the championship at WrestleMania, especially if that's their first time. They usually lose it by SummerSlam or maybe a little bit before. In Stone Cold Steve Austin's case, he lost it at King of the Ring, got it right back, but officially lost it at Breakdown, right, in September. But he was so hot, so it's kind of like one of those things is, we'll take the title off of you because we're going to put it back on you, but we're going to build a star in The Rock, and that's going to be your opponent. So you look at that, and you look at what happened with, like I said, with Austin. You look at Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins got hurt. He was another one who held it all the way through until I think it was October when he got hurt. Maybe it was closer to November. But McIntyre has not bored me yet. Last year, Kofi Kingston held the title until October. And I think what made everybody on edge with his reign, which made it believable and good, was because at any point in time, you felt he could lose. McIntyre, you don't feel that way, but which makes it even better that he's doing such a good job, because even though there's points at times where he's like, okay, he's going to win, he still found a way to make it interesting, literally carrying the company on his back. But make no mistake about it, with Roman Reigns getting back, Roman's here, McIntyre's here as far as star power. So it only makes sense. But big shout out to Drew McIntyre and, holding on to the championship. I want to see what happens, him, Hell in a Cell. Will it be Keith Lee? Could it be a triple threat match for the WWE Championship? Only time will tell. Then Retribution, they're still hanging around. So a lot of things. We have we got about a month away, so that's a good thing. It's the weekend before Halloween, so that's kind of like, to me, I wish WWE would have used Halloween Havoc. And no, I'm not a big Halloween fan, but I always like the Halloween Havoc theme pay-per-view. But folks, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. For those you may know, So some of you may not know, I have produced a documentary on my good friend Blake Thomas. He's been on a couple of episodes of Break It Down with Brian H. Blake is a professional wrestling backstage producer, photographer. He's also used to write music. You may know of the group Blackout, Ruckus, Robbie Moreno, Black G's. At one point, I think, Eddie Kingston and Joker, all in one in the group. Chrissy Rivera, I definitely got to include Chrissy. So he wrote their theme song. He's done a lot in the business. A big credit for a lot of my backstage experience goes to Blake. Well, here's a clip. This is available now on the B Waters Productions YouTube channel. You can go check it out. But here's a clip of that. I'll be right back after this.
Coming in, not just as a fan, but a student of the game, I always listen. So I'm listening and I'm reading what the fans like, what they didn't like. And I'm always reviewing a lot of different things. And what can we have made different? What if we do this month? And what if we do that month? So when it was time for me to step up and we make a booking team and everything comes together, I felt like I had what it takes to take this to the levels that we've all wanted. And as a team, we did that together. At the time that we had RCW, we got to do and accomplish a lot of things that you don't really see. And we did it in a good amount of time. I mean, it was such a great run, and it helped me prepare for the next several years of my life backstage in wrestling. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you check out that docuseries brought to you by B Waters Productions and combined with Blake Thomas Bliss Photography. Like I said, Blake, the executive producer, I'm the producer, and just the phenomenal. I mean, featuring some of your favorites. We're talking Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez, Leva Bates, Ruckus, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Kiera Hogan, Faye Jackson. So many people have came together to help us tell the story of Blake Thomas and the phenomenal work he has done behind the scenes of professional wrestling. So make sure you check that out. Let's talk women's wrestling. Sasha, Bayley, man, they're back. So, and before we get there, we got to talk about Asuka and Zelina Vega. Asuka victorious. What did we expect, right? We knew she was going to win that match. However, the thing that shocked everybody, I ain't going to say it shocked everybody, but instead of, I guess, Zelina Vega just going on about her way, she would then give her a kick to the face after she bowed. She would attack her. I mean, she attacked her, and that makes you wonder, are they leaving this door open? Me personally, I'm ready for a Bianca Belair program with Asuka, but for some reason they don't know what to do with her. I don't get it, but but Asuka would not be it. So Nikki Cross was unable to perform tonight, not getting into the rumors. We also know the women's tag team champions were unable to perform. They said they didn't pass the medical test, and Nia Jax said that's false, but who knows? We know Nia loves Twitter. But Asuka needed an opponent. Bayley needed an opponent, and there was Asuka. You kind of you can always go back to this, especially without hurting any parties. Obviously, it was a double disqualification or a double count out, or somebody got disqualified. But Bayley still holding her title, and then Sasha returned, and I did not like this at all. I don't like Sasha Banks coming back right now. I don't think it makes sense for her to come back. She is hurt. So if she's hurt, why not? She was attacked brutally. She came out, said her piece. She got attacked again. I think she should be off TV for a while. That way, when the return happens, it's going to be special. Now, I'm obviously not a booker, so I want to see what's going to happen. What's going to happen when she does come back? But it does make you wonder, Hell in the Cell. where do they go with Bayley? You know, and where do they go with Asuka? Especially, I just don't see a rematch. Like I said, I want to see her and Bianca Belair. Speaking of Bianca Belair, her husband Montez Ford and his partner Angelo Dawkins, the Street Profits, were victorious tonight. Very controversial ending as Angel Garza was looked to have hurt his quad, according to the internet. But because of that, it looked like that's the reason why the referee Drake Younger went ahead with the pin. 1, 2, 3. Even though Andrade's shoulder was up, it looked like the ref just said, "Let's go home, get the match over. He's hurt. We're gonna have to change the finish." So, best wishes to Angel Garza. Hopefully, it's not a quad injury, but maybe. We all know in the wrestling world, the quad injury is synonymous with the game Triple H. May 2001 when he hurt his quad. I remember I was in 9th grade, and it was an incredible match with him and Stone Cold Steve Austin defending their tag team championships against Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. And I remember I didn't see the match live, didn't have cable yet, but my friend Marquis came at the school, was like, "Man, this match was so good, you didn't know who was going to win." But Triple H tore his quad, finished the match. We all know the story. He would return at WrestleMania 18, defeating Chris Jericho to become the Undisputed Champion. So we shall see. The Hurt Business continues to roll as Bobby Lashley was victorious tonight over Apollo Crews. So, but ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for the special WWE Clash of the Champions post show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and put that on your screen where you can see where you can find us: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Actually, let me put this one up too, because we're also on Anchor, iHeartRadio. We are there. Subscribe, follow, like. Just do it. We're on all social media platforms. So make sure you connect with us and make sure you tune in. I have another project that I might be working on pretty soon, folks. So until the next time, folks, I'm Brian H. Waters. This is Break It Down with Brian H. So long, everybody. Thank you for this episode with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new content.